Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. So, for those of you who don't know me, because I am still pretty new here, my name's Archangel. We're going to be playing a lot of great games on this channel. I'm a big fan of story mode games, so you're going to be seeing a lot of things like Final Fantasy, Paper Mario. So right now we're going to be playing this. Now, a couple things you might not already know about me are that I play a lot of other games like Luigi's Mansion, stuff like that, and I speedrun them. So if you're watching a replay of this on YouTube, then you might have already seen my Luigi's Mansion run. Not the best, definitely not going to be professional or anything like that anytime soon, but definitely looking to get better and enjoy the process of getting better. So for this though, we're just going to be playing some Paper Mario today. I expect probably about an hour of this, so welcome to the Sunday afternoon stream for those of you who are here live, and to anybody watching the recap, the replay, thank you very much for watching as well. So, just a little backstory, Paper Mario is one of my favorite games of all time. Absolutely love it. It is kind of fundamental to my gaming experience, so I'm definitely looking forward to playing this and sharing it with you all. So definitely not going to necessarily see any like high level play. I do speedrun other games, this is not one of them. So definitely don't expect to see anything crazy. We're just going to be here, have a good time, and really just overall enjoy the gameplay, enjoy the story. So I'm of course letting this run so you can see the story because we're going to get started here. But with that being said, I'm just going to kind of let this run for a minute, make sure everything's still working good on our end over here, and with that being said, we should be good to go. So, for anybody watching the replay or for anybody just joining live, this is one of my first streams, so it's kind of just making sure we nail down all of the technical parts of things. So I do apologize, bear with me if I have to kind of hop over here to take care of anything. And one quick thing, we are going to get this started momentarily, but we're going to actually reset this very shortly. So don't worry, we're still going to be streaming, you're still going to be hanging out with me, but I'm going to need to just fix something real quick here on the gameplay side. So with that, bear with me and we're going to get this taken care of. So at this point, you might be thinking, what happened? What just happened? So basically, I just realized that I have not completely reset this cartridge. And that's not a problem, except for the fact that I kind of forgot to rename all the files. So just to make sure that we don't have any personal information out there, because I've had this cartridge since I was a little kid, we're going to be making sure that all that's good to go. So I apologize for the really weird little delay here, but we're going to get this started right away. So right now I'm just naming the file, and with that being said, I promise I can type. Oh, and it won't let me put in my full name. Okay, so we're just going to shorten this name. I can type, I promise. This is the problem with you can't see it right now, but a game with a non-QWERTY keyboard is really hard to find the letters that you're looking for. So we're just gonna drop a vowel here, call it done, and with that being said, we are now good to go. So we're going to bring the game back. Now you should be able to see it. Awesome. So with that, we are all set to go. We're going to get started here, and let's enjoy some Paper Mario, shall we? So, starting out, iconic scene. Now, I'm not going to be explaining everything. I'm sure anybody watching has probably either seen this before or doesn't really care about my opinion on it. And that's okay, because what we're going to be doing here is just enjoying it. But this iconic scene, I love that they use this in every Paper Mario. To my knowledge, they remake this scene, and it's just fun to me. I enjoy it. So we're definitely going to enjoy this. I'm going to try to make sure that there's plenty of time, especially for people watching the replay or watching live, to be able to read through these. So every text box I'm going to let sit for a couple seconds, just to make sure that everybody has a chance to read it. And with that being said, we're just going to keep on going. So, as I mentioned earlier in the stream and kind of got a little bit cut off there where I had to fix the cartridge stuff, I love this game. It is one of my favorite games of all time. My actual favorite game of all time is arguably Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, but we're gonna get there. At this point, we are gonna be playing through it, through this one, probably through the next one, maybe even get to Super Paper Mario someday. But at the moment, we're gonna start at the beginning. So, at this point, not a whole lot of gameplay going on, so thank you for bearing with me as we just watch I think this cutscene's about 5 minutes. Even though I don't speedrun this game and speedrun Luigi's Mansion, I have seen speedruns of this game, and know that this is an unskippable cutscene, there's only so much you can do. So, I don't remember how long it is, I know I've heard it before, but thank you for bearing with me for these last few minutes while we go through this. I do love this. I really wish, this part right here, I wish that you could come back to this area later on, and you're going to see why you can't here in just a few minutes. But I really wish you could come back here. It's just a really great part of the game. It's a really pretty part of the game. I love the music. But unfortunately you can't, and you're going to see that here in a couple minutes. So if you haven't ever actually played this game, or seen this game, it's a real treat. You're going to love it. I'm going to try not to spoil things along the way just because, honestly, it's a good game. Now, it's 20 years old at this point, almost, so spoilers are kind of, you know, it's not a huge deal, but I'm going to try not to spoil things too much just in case you are seeing this game for the first time with me. So, at this point, we're just going to meet Peach. I don't know if you saw the whole conversation there. You might have been paying attention to me, may not have been paying attention to me. Either way, we're meeting Peach. It's a beautiful day. She's hosting a party, and at this point, she's just getting a little tired of guests, and don't we all understand how that goes? So, we're meeting her up here, and we are going to just enjoy the day. It's a lovely day out today. Unfortunately here, not so much, a little cold. But we're gonna go enjoy this day with Peach, except of course we're not. So, this is what I was talking about, where you can't come back to this area later. This is why. This is... It works. It's a great setup for this game. But I definitely wish that you could come back and see that pretty little castle area there, like Super Mario 64, just run around it. I don't know, that's just me. At this point, am I probably rambling? Yes. Do I care? Nah. We're here to have fun, and that's what we're gonna do. So, at this point, again, unskippable cutscenes. I can talk, I promise. But we're getting there. We're about to get into our first battle here. And, of course, we all know who that first battle is going to be. Even if you've never played this game, it's not going to be much of a surprise. So, I remember playing this game when I was little. This was years and years ago. But I always thought that this battle was really cool, but always wondered if it could be beaten. Now, I just kind of mild spoiler to what's about to happen. You can't beat this game. You can beat this game, I promise. You cannot win this fight. There is no way to do so. So it is definitely scripted, but it's still a lot of fun. So at this point, I'm going to be a little bit more quiet so we can not necessarily pay attention to the dialogue. It's not like there's going to be any voice acting, and I'm not going to be doing voices for everybody. But just so you can kind of see what's going on here, and so you're not distracted by me just rambling on, and I'm going to at least slow down a little bit what we're talking about and just kind of talk you through this battle. But with that being said, we are just a few text boxes away, and we're going to start our first battle, and you're going to see what combat looks like in this game. So, anybody who hasn't played Paper Mario before, it's a turn-based RPG. As I kind of mentioned earlier, I think I'm definitely a fan of RPGs. I'm definitely a fan of story-based games. And turn-based RPGs I actually have a soft spot for, even though a lot of people don't like them. So, turn-based RPG, I love this game. I love the way they set it up. So, I hope that you all do too. I hope that you all will enjoy it as we go through it. And kind of spread a little bit of love for this game. It's not really underrated per se, but a lot of people just haven't really experienced it. Not the same number of people that have experienced something like Super Mario 64. So it's still a lot of fun and really good game. So hope you all enjoy it as we go through it. Now, if y'all were paying attention to the storyline when we first started the game instead of just listening to me ramble, Bowser stole the Star Rod from Star Haven. Now, everything in this game seems to be themed around stars, and with good reason, it's Mario. But this Star Rod gives him the ability to have any wish he wants granted. And in this case, he's about to be invincible. So, at this point in time, there's not really a whole lot we can do about that, but we are going to still try to stop him. We can't have Bowser just being able to get any wish he wants, but he's definitely going to give us a run for our money at this point. I miss this game. It's been a while since I played this game, but it is a good one. I like it. Now, one thing you might have noticed, just that obviously besides the fact I'm not doing any damage to him, he started doing more damage to me, and you might have seen in the top left corner of the screen when we're in the fight, and you're going to see it right here, that I have 2 out of 10 HP, and now I have 0. Like I said earlier, where you can't win this fight, that one attack right there will one-shot you no matter what you do. You don't have any way to block it, there's nothing you can do to dodge it. So that's why this fight is unwinnable. Even if you somehow were able to not die to that, if there were a way to dodge it, anything like that, you can't. So it is really interesting, though, just a little bit of trivia here for anybody watching. The game itself will not let you win that fight no matter what, even if you hack it. So if you were to take like the virtual console version of this game and do a little bit of hacking, do a little bit of glitching, and have it not register like damage, give you 999 HP, anything like that that would let you survive, there's no way to beat it. It will crash. It is not made to handle that. So just a little fun fact there. If I know any trivia about this game along the way, I'm definitely going to share it if I can. But that's just a little fun fact. That fight is literally unwinnable. It's not just one of those things where you'd have to be able to do X number of damage before a certain time. There's some Final Fantasy fights like that just you can't win because they will KO you before you can do enough damage to the enemy. This is not one of those. It's just really interesting to me because in a lot of RPGs you see that where hit points are what matters, and if you win, then it kind of messes up the game, but you're not going to necessarily run into any issues per se of you're still going to like get a crash or something like that. But like this game, it just doesn't even register. It doesn't even let you do that. So it's pretty cool. Now, kind of coming back to the game instead of just random trivia, these are the star spirits that live in Star Haven. You probably saw them at the opening cutscene again if you weren't just listening to me. These are the people we are going to be saving. They are able to grant wishes using the Star Rod and their star power. Really great character designs. I always love these, especially... I can't even remember his name, but the one with the mustache. Not the one in the front, the one with just the little dad mustache. I always thought that one was great. And Scholar, I do remember his name. The blue one behind the one with the bow. You can't really see him right now. I always thought he had a really cool design too. One of my favorite characters in this game, honestly. Especially with his storyline, which you'll see later on kind of where that comes from. He gets a little more characterization than the rest of them. So, we have landed, we fell from the sky, we have landed, we have blacked out, and now we are trying to figure out what's happening, except we're unconscious, so we can't figure out what's happening. But we have a little friend here who's going to help us with that. So, you're going to be introduced to her here in a little bit. I'm going to let you see that name here coming shortly, mostly because I'm afraid that I'm going to forget it. I cannot remember off the top of my head. I don't want to get it wrong. I think it's Goombaria. And it's really strange because I've played this game probably 10, 20 times, and you would think that I would remember that. But I'm having a hard time remembering it, so we're going to let them tell you for sure here in a little bit. But at this point, we are still unconscious, been unconscious for quite a while, but Eldstar over here has some important information for us and a request. So at this point, it is going to concern the princess and all the Mushroom Kingdoms. Something has gone horribly wrong, as you all have already seen. So we are going to need to go to Shooting Star Summit to meet with them because that is what we'll find out later, the closest area to Star Haven, so they can talk to us a little more. So, for the first time, we are waking up since we hit the ground. I believe, if memory serves, it has been a couple days. Again, been a while since I played this game, even though I've played it so many times. But we are finally awake. We are finally able to start some gameplay here shortly. And I'm excited for that because you all actually get to see how this game plays instead of just one scripted battle sequence, me rambling, and a bunch of text boxes. So we are in Goomba Village, and this is actually, at least in my knowledge, one of the first times that Nintendo really made Goombas not an enemy. Now, you'll see them as enemies later in the game, but this is one of the earlier times that I ever saw that Goombas were considered a friendly character. So that's kind of cool. Now, I could be wrong on that. That might just be that my personal experience was that was the first time. But as far as I'm aware, it might actually be the first time this happened. So when I was a kid, that was really weird to me because you kind of just expected that any Goombas would be an enemy, but I know that may not be interesting to you. It is to me because it was just kind of subverting expectations for the time, especially for a little kid that I was when I played this game. It was definitely new and different, so I was definitely a fan of that. And with that, you get to see this world. We are in a kind of pop-up book style world. I do love the art design in this game. Definitely miss this style. In some of the newer Paper Marios, they went a little bit more the side of things, trying to put it in words. Basically, they went a little bit more the route of everything looking more like papercraft, which is cool, but just not the same. Instead of feeling like just being in a pop-up book world, you kind of just feel like you're in a craft world, which is good, just different. So we are talking to the father of this Goomba family who is fixing the gate, so we can't go out, which is always so frustrating. But at this point, we are going to need to figure out a way to get out of here. He's going to have that gate fixed for us soon. So, in the meantime, we're going to actually play the game a little bit. So I'm going to skip over all this. You all don't need to know how to save. You all know how to save these days. It's not exactly hard. So, at this point, we're going to see if we can find somebody who can help us with this gate, except, not really. What we're actually going to be doing is just killing a little bit of time. Now, this character that we're going to meet right here, the Goomba Grandpa, is going to be an important character a little bit later. But, at this point, we just need to talk to him, waste a little bit of time, and wait for the gate to be fixed. Now, he's busy fixing the veranda. Now, I don't know about y'all, this house seems like it's a little bit of a fixer-upper. But, should by now be able to go out that gate, and we are going to see about actually getting out of here and going to Salem Beach. But, as you all know, it's never that easy. So, we're about to see what happens when we try to leave. Skip that text box a little bit. Sorry guys. Alright. Now then. I wish we could stay too. These are really nice people. It would definitely be great to, you know, hang out with them a little while, but unfortunately, duty calls. We need to be going. But nothing's that easy. It's never that easy. What is this? This isn't, you know, some kid's game where things just work out fine. This is still a family-friendly game, but definitely things are going to go wrong. And at this point, Kami Koopa here just can't leave well enough alone. So she's going to give us a little bit of trouble. And at this point... Oh, I'm sorry, I spoiled her name. Kami Koopa. There you go. At this point, we are still getting there to where we're going to be having actual gameplay. At this point, it's more that we are just watching still long cutscenes with a little bit of movement in there. But at this point, we're getting there. We're almost to actual gameplay. You're going to be seeing some actual Paper Mario gameplay here soon. For now, though, we're just enjoying the story. Always loved that text effect. Thought it looked really cool. I do a little bit of programming myself, never figured out how to do that. One of these days, maybe I can figure it out. It's not hard, I'm sure, just something that I've never done. Also, I love his facial expression right here. It just is so grumpy. I love it. Ah, man. So, Bowser has gone and kidnapped Princess Peach again. We are all surprised. But we have to get the Shooting Star Summit to help save her, because we need the help of the Star Spirits to do so. So, maybe we can break this block with the hammer that Goomball was using earlier. And if you are an astute viewer, you know that was the Goomba Grandpa that we were just talking to outside. So we're going to need to go talk to him again. That will certainly not go wrong, I'm sure. Everything has just been coming up roses so far. Now, real quick, just a little fun fact. You can actually get around this block as it is right now. You're using glitches, a lot of frame-perfect tricks, which I'll come back to explaining what those are in a little bit, because you'll probably see that again on my channel eventually. But, first, something seems to be missing. And in a classic classic instance, I should say, of cartoon physics, we kind of just hung out there in the middle of the air until we realized that the veranda was gone. Now, what caused that? I have no idea. Luckily, though, I have not been hurt, and it looks like Goomball isn't hurt either. So, everything's all fine, everything's good. This is a family-friendly game. Nobody's going to get hurt too badly, mostly. So, just stepped out the door into thin air we did. And once again, a block is in the way. Shouldn't be here, but it won't be a problem for us as long as we have a hammer. But we don't have a hammer right now. It's a series of unfortunate events, but that's okay. We're gonna get through it. So, at this point, we're gonna go look for it. Now, you see that Goomball is actually joining us as a partner. Definitely really cool. He's a little bit older, definitely not in his prime. So if we get into any battles, he's not really going to be helping us out directly, but he is going to be able to give us a little bit of advice along the way. So it's actually been a while since I played this game. I forget which bush the hammer actually is in. Should be one of these somewhere around here, but this shows you just how much time makes you forget things. But we have a hammer now. We can also smash yellow blocks. So I hope you guys are having a good day, having a good lazy Sunday afternoon, hanging out. Definitely, what I want these streams to be is just a good way to hang out, enjoy some time, enjoy some downtime, just relax. Definitely nothing too high stress right now. We may be playing some other games down the road that might have a little bit more action to them, but right now, we're just enjoying some lazy Sunday afternoons and just kind of chilling. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, well, hopefully you can enjoy just a little bit of chill time wherever you are, whenever you are. So, fun little fact there, a lot of people may or may not know that that little doll is there. It's not exactly hidden, but it's also just, you may not realize to hit the tree there. So, it's still pretty cool. Nothing really major about it, just leads to a little bit of a cutscene later in a special item I think you get us. What are they called? Star shards? I forget what they are. But we'll come back to it. I promise, I've played this game. I know what I'm talking about. But we have our first instance of the Master Junior Troopa. And he's going to be a recurring character throughout this, so you're going to see him again. Hope you like his character. He's a bit of a goofball, but he's still lovable. So, like I said, Goomball is going to be just watching our progress. He's not going to be actively taking part in the battle. Not exactly in his prime anymore. But we did it. We did a good move. We jumped on his head. So, you're seeing right now a little bit of the standard, what am I looking for here? The standard battle progression here. Just turn-based, going back and forth. And hey, good to see you. Probably a little bit of delay here, so I'm sorry that I didn't say hi earlier. Hi Dread, good to see ya. Happy to have you on board. Hope that you're enjoying a lazy Sunday afternoon with us, like I said. But at this point, we are just making it through this battle, and we are going to say hello to his super special attack, full power, and it's going to do a whole 2 damage. So we're still fine. Nothing like Bowser. Nothing quite so hard. And you are darn right, it is a Mario game. Mario games are great. So I am excited to be playing through this, and I'm happy that you're joining because I definitely am glad to share this game with people. And we got star points for this battle, which, if you haven't played this game but have played RPGs before, they're just experience points. That's the way they work. So, what I really like about this game is that experience points are always on a 100-point scale. So if you've ever played something like a Final Fantasy, or one of my favorites, Bravely Default, which I probably won't be streaming on this channel just because I don't have a way of capturing a 3DS, you'll see that experience points in a lot of games are based on like progressive scaling. So what you'll see is that if you level up to level 2 at 100 experience points, you'll need 1,000 by the time you get to level 10, and then you end up in the ridiculous amounts of experience points down the road. But I do love that this one kept everything a little bit more, I don't want to say low-key because that's not really the word I'm looking for here, but definitely, I don't know, I lost my train of thought. We're all good. I'm coming up here to get a item. Honestly, I don't even remember where things are. So you're probably seeing these, seeing me get these items, find these things, and it's been long enough that I don't even remember what's where. And hey, thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. Definitely shout out to you. Appreciate that. Glad to have you on board. Thanks for hopping in. So hope you're having a good day. Definitely, like I said earlier, thanks for hanging out. Hope you're enjoying this lazy Sunday afternoon with us. But now I can't tell what that is. Is that emote? Because I'm not even familiar with half the emotes here on Twitch. Is that Crunchyroll's Hime, or is that just another anime person? Because I don't know, but it kind of looks like her. Either way, definitely digging the anime emotes. I like them. But either way, and I apologize for the delay, I don't have it on low latency right now, so whenever you have time to respond, anybody that wants to talk, please feel free to jump in. But I might not see your replies right away. So here we actually get our introduction to different types of enemies that have different, I don't want to say status effects or anything, but where you have to plan things. So he had a spike on his head. Jumping on him would lead to getting hurt. So definitely don't want to do that. And that's kind of where this game comes into its unique take on the RPG genre. Rather than having just like elemental stuff or any sort of system where you just have to be careful about what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you don't want to jump on a fire enemy or something like that, or use fire on a fire enemy. This game kind of builds it into each enemy, and I always liked that. I always thought it was cool. It keeps things simple and easy to understand. Especially when I was younger, that was really nice because it made it a little bit easier to understand what was happening and a little bit easier to plan. So, I always thought that was cool. And then we're going to see our first flying enemy over here, who, as you might expect if you've been kind of paying attention just to the way the battle system works, definitely going to expect that something different is happening here. Hammers won't work on them. So you're going to see this kind of play into later enemies. Right now, it's mostly just getting used to understanding what attacks you can and cannot use them. Thankfully, it doesn't even let you try a hammer. Again, very friendly game to getting used to the mechanics, getting used to the world. It was really good at introducing you to stuff. So, at this point, just another battle. So, thanks for hanging out as we go through these. Now, some of these battles can get a little long. These right now are fine, but some of the later ones might take 5-10 minutes. So, we're going to see how this works out in the end. Definitely on stream, we're going to do it. If you watch the replay, I may eventually edit like some of the more standard battles out if I can. But for right now, we're just making our way through. I'm going to eventually make it back to Goomba Village right now. So we're all good, we're all safe, and we are back to our little home base here. Now, I didn't try earlier. That gate is actually locked if you try to open it earlier in the game. So that's where you unlock it. Definitely not really any reason to try to go out there earlier. There's nothing you can really do. I don't actually know if you can glitch yourself out of that gate or not. I know you can on the other one, like I mentioned earlier, but I don't know if you can on that one. So we'll see. I'll definitely actually look into that. I can't promise that I'll remember next time I stream to mention whether or not you can, but all sorts of really cool glitches in this game that you can do. Please don't ask me to do those just because I don't think I can. I don't have that kind of skill level. So while we are having this little conversation, earlier I mentioned something about frame perfect tricks. And as you might see on my channel eventually, you're going to see some speedruns and stuff like that. I don't know that anything I do right now requires a frame perfect trick, but essentially to explain that, as you might know from watching on Twitch or understanding just through games, you might be familiar with things like 30 FPS, 60 FPS, frames per second, and that just means that for every second of the game, your TV, console is outputting a frame of animation, of graphics. So just to kind of explain that, you are going to see that frame perfect means that you have to act on a very specific frame of that. And 30 frames per second, for example, which I think is what this one runs at, is going to show 30 of those frames per second. Now, you might be doing the math here. That means that you have, I believe it's 1/30th of a second? Yes, 1/30th of a second. I forget how long that actually is in like milliseconds or anything like that. But a frame perfect trick on a 30 FPS game would just mean that you have a 30th of a second to pull it off. And that is really hard on a game with an N64 controller because these things are not exactly precision regardless of what they tell you in the instruction manual. So when it comes to frame perfect tricks and stuff like that, it just takes a lot of practice, a lot of skill. And I like to think of myself as a pretty skilled gamer, but not that good. Now, I already know how badges work. Y'all are going to see how badges work. I'm not going to make you all sit through this tutorial. But, no thank you. We're not going to go through that. So, we do need flower points for badges and special moves, which you all will see here in a little bit. We're going to be using some of those, and you'll see how that works. That's basically your mana, your magic points, anything like that from a standard RPG. So, at this point, we are finally getting to where we're going to be actually just out on our own, a little less cutscene heavy. But first, we're going to get the keyboard hammer, so thankfully they don't take that away from us as soon as we got it. But we are getting there. We are getting there. So thanks for your patience while we get through all these cutscenes. This is probably going to be the most boring stream thus far as actual gameplay is concerned, because it's mostly just a lot of cutscenes. So at this point, thanks for hanging in there, and we are almost to where you're going to see some more standard gameplay, and you can kind of get on the strategy of fights and things like that. So with that being said, we get our first partner ability here too, which, just as a quick explanation, is going to give us the ability to, with Gubario, tattle enemies, which will let us see their hit points, let us see anything like that. And he also gives us advice in the field. Now, to somebody who's played this game already, that's not going to be much of a big deal, but at the moment, it's at least a good start for people who haven't played this game and stuff like that. So I'm thankful for it. I'm glad they put it in there. It was always really cool, and I always enjoyed seeing what his reactions were to things and stuff like that. So before we go, we're going to use this Toad House here. These function very similarly to inns and other RPGs. If you played Final Fantasy or something like that, then that should be pretty familiar to you. I'm just going to get a quick HP top off here so we can keep going without risk of death, and then we are going to be on our way finally. So we're going to finally get into some real gameplay here. I know I keep saying, hey, we're almost there, we're almost there. We actually are this time. So with that, I'm going to do a quick save. The reason I keep saving like this is just because the console is getting old, the cartridge is a little old. I'm always a little bit afraid of it glitching out or anything like that, and I don't want to have you all see the same gameplay over and over. So Oh, I did forget to put the badge on. See, that's what happens when I'm talking and playing. So, we are going to scroll over here to badges, put on power jump, and that just allows us to use a special move. In this game, rather than just learning special moves, you have to use them through badges, which are equivalents. So, it's a really cool system. I really love it. Really easy to understand, but also really well put together to give you a lot of strategy options. So, at this point, we're going to do our first battle on these Goombas, just to get a little bit of lore and be able to see their HP in the future. They only have 2 HP, which you're about to see, so it's not that hard to keep track of, but I always like having it there. So, at this point, we're going to be in our first fight with 2 partners. So you saw that I switched Goombara there to do that battle. He can actually attack, so this next Goomba is going to go down in 1 turn, which is really cool. And from there, we're going to, again, be on our way. So, don't really have any segue there. Don't know where I was going with that. We got experience points. We're going to keep on going. And hey, we got our health back there. Those hearts are random drops. You don't always get them, but it is really helpful when you do. So definitely thankful for that. I always like being at full HP, even though I'm not in really any danger at this point. It's still fun. So you might notice that when I'm attacking or anything like that, I don't really seem focused, like I have a hand off the controller. That's because right now there isn't anything that you can do to dodge, to block, and to make your attacks any stronger. Those are something called action commands, which are a staple in the series, which you're going to see later. If you've ever played the Mario and Luigi games, very similar concept, just kind of different in execution. So, while we don't have those, battles are a little bit boring for probably you and a little bit for me, just because we kind of just sit here and watch them play out like a cutscene again. But eventually we're going to get to the point where battles are going to be more strategic, we're going to be planning things out, and I'm going to actually have the capability of messing them up. So at this point, we just attack and we keep on going. But eventually you'll see that these get a little bit more complicated. That flower, very similar to the heart, gives you flower points, which are, again, similar to a magic system that lets you use special attacks. So, I completely forgot to do a tattle on those Paragoombas, and that's because I forget things when I'm talking. So, I always love the tattles, how they give you a little bit of background on all the characters and enemies, and just give you a little bit more to the world. I always thought that was really cool. So, at this point, what you saw me do there, of course, we went after the Spiked Goomba first. That was for a couple of reasons. 1, he's in front of us. 2, hammer attack was enough to take him down. 3, though, what you'll see is when you go through battles, especially as they get a little bit harder, we're still in the tutorial section of the game. As battles get a little bit harder, you will notice that enemies are in specific patterns, and that will let you, trying to decide how to phrase it, what's the best way to put it. Basically, attacking them in a specific order will allow you to make sure that you have plenty of options and make sure you take out the dangerous enemies first. Because, as you'll see in this, attack power 1, defense power 0. That Spike Goomba, if you remember, had 2 attack power, which again at this point isn't really a big deal. It's not going to put us in any significant danger, but it does just mean that you want to be careful of that in the future, so it's good to just go ahead and get on that now. So, again, thank you all for your patience as we go through this, because this is kind of the boring part of the game, just as we're going through this tutorial section. But it's definitely letting us see the introduction to the mechanics. So, big fan of it, and as you all can probably tell, because I've said it a million times already in the last half hour, I love this game. I love the way they designed it. It's really user-friendly, without getting into some of the more stressful aspects of like other hardcore RPGs that you'll see. So things like hit points, flower points, everything is all in small, easy to digest numbers, so I always thought that was really cool. So we have our first boss fight right here that you can actually win. These are the Goomba brothers. We have red and blue Goomba here, very creative names there.
But we're going to be getting through here and making it through this boss fight. This one is always a really good one. I do love the character designs, even just red and blue. Like, the color palettes, I always thought they were really cool. So we're going to do some battles first here because one of them is weaker than the other, but we're going to start with the red Goomba. He's the older of the two Goomba brothers. And I don't think it really bears explanation, but just in case you aren't familiar with RPGs, if you're kind of hopping in here and don't really play them much, hit points, obviously health, attack power, defense power, all that stuff is fairly self-explanatory. It is just the way the battle system works. Attack enemies until their HP is gone, and try not to lose your HP yourself. So I don't think that bears explaining, but just in case anybody out there has never played an RPG before, now you know. Pretty simple, pretty easy. We're going to go ahead and take down Red Goomba first, just to go ahead and knock him out of the way. And it was a really moving moment. Unfortunately, we had to take down his brother, but not to worry, he's going to come back. So, we move on. I don't have any more flower points, so we're just going to do our normal attacks here. And we're going to tattle this guy just so you can see his description as well. On the Goomba King's men, he doesn't look that healthy. I guess, you know, being blue is generally kind of maybe a sign of poor health. Something might be going wrong there if that is the case. No. But we are almost through this. We are getting there, y'all. So, just one more attack on this guy, one more round, and we will be all set to go. Didn't really mention it so far, but I do also love the way they did the art design with the dioramas for all of these battles. I can talk, I promise. Basically, I love how it gives you that just little diorama feeling to it. It just really sells the world as being not just a random 3D world like things like Super Mario 64 or anything like that. It just gives it more character, and I always like that. And they improved it in Thousand Year Door, in my opinion, giving it an audience, but even for now, I still love the way they did the little diorama. So we just went back and filled our health back up there. It's free, might as well use it. Now, fun fact, that is a trap. That is going to turn into a Goomba to make us fight another enemy before we get to the Goomba King's Fortress. So, don't want to do that. Don't want to waste the HP. And we have our first look at a true boss battle. If the last one was a first boss battle that was simple and easy, that was more mini-boss. This is going to be our actual first boss battle for real, and it is a good one. I do like it. So, we are come to the Goomba King's Fortress, and we are going to see about fighting him once he notices us. A little nod to Jurassic Park here. If they had a cup of water, I'm sure it'd be shaking with each step. And we have the infamous Goomba King and his goofy face and his goofy hat. I know it's a crowd. But the great and powerful King Goomba will let us advance no farther. I think we have something to say about that. He's really huge. That is a really big Goomba. That is very true. You don't see them that are that size before. I've always wondered though, like, Goombario and his family were all fairly small. The red and blue Goombas are fairly big, and especially the Goomba King is bigger. Is that just, like, is that a different, like, subspecies of Goomba? Nobody knows. But I've always thought it was interesting. So, we just finished beating up the red and blue Goombas, and I always thought that that was actually really cool that they start out with low HP here. So we're going to use that fire flower we picked up earlier to just take them out in one swoop along with the Goomba King. That's going to let us not have to worry about their attacks. Now, one thing you might not know, and I'm going to pause here just for a second, if you played this game before, but we're just playing it casually, didn't really pay attention, you might initially go for the Goomba King, but you can actually hit the tree as well, which will knock down one of those nuts and hit him pretty hard. So that's always just a great way to do some free damage, and then we're going to get hit by those that he can drop in turn. And then I'm going to tattle him just to get that HP bar, because I like it. Makes me feel happy. So, Max HP of 10, we're already left over halfway there, so not going to be too bad. And we're going to be done with this boss fight here pretty shortly, actually. So, we're going to do a power bounce here, get 3 hit points right there, and then one more jump to finish him off. So, not bad for a boss fight, pretty easy, especially if you use that fire flower there. When I was a kid, I don't remember it being that easy, but at the same time, I also didn't really understand games very well back then. So, we get to our first level up, and unlike a lot of other games that we're going to see in like tennis and stuff like that, we don't just get automatic stat upgrades. We're going to actually get an upgrade to one of these 3 things. Now, for right now, I'm going to actually upgrade our flower points so we can use more special moves. But it kind of depends on what you want your experience to be like, which ones you choose. If you want it to be a little bit harder, you probably focus on badge points and flower points because it means your HP is going to be lower. If you're a little bit more timid about things and don't want to necessarily risk getting KO'd as much, a lot of people go for HP. I myself like to have a lot of HP. It just makes me feel a little bit more comfortable, especially when I'm talking and stuff. I don't want it to be... I don't want to make a mistake and get myself killed just because I wasn't paying attention. So, at this point, we have pressed the switch, and we get to see what happens when that happens. So, I always love this cutscene. All the cutscenes are really comical in this game. Most of them are just a lot of fun, and really show, again, that paper design to the world, like those windows not being real windows, basically just being stickers, and the folding paper effects on these. And again, they kind of upped the ante on those in the 1,000 Year Door, which is the sequel to this, but even in the first one, they did such a good job with it. So we are on our way. We have beaten our first boss fight, and we're going to be wrapping up here soon today. I'm going to try to get to Shooting Star Summit, and that's going to be about where we wrap up today, just to make sure that it's all in bite-sized chunks here. So we're going to keep on going. It looks like we were being watched, so of course that's not going to turn out well for us in the future, but I don't think anybody was really surprised by that, were we? No. So, we're going to save and continue, and we have our first instance of a Peach intermission. And this is where we get to see what is going on in Bowser's Castle and in Peach's Castle on top of it specifically. And get to see, you know, what's kind of going on behind the scenes that we're not otherwise getting to see down on the ground. So, we have beaten the first boss, the Goomba King, and now King Koopa needs to report to Bowser to make sure that he knows what's happening. It was unbelievable, apparently. I don't know why that's a shock, but we're gonna roll with it. Video game logic. So, Bowser's having 2 doubts. Not sure. Mario's kind of a tough go-getter, so might still pose a threat. I don't know. I think we all know how that one's going to turn out. But Bowser's still got that star up, so he's still invincible. He still doesn't have anything to worry about. But we'll see how that turns out in the future. You never know. So, now we hear a little bit more about what's happening with the 7 Star Spirits. We get to know, you saw earlier in the stream, or in the replay if you were watching later, that the Star Spirits were captured and put into carts. And now we hear what's kind of happened to them and where they were scattered to be held. And we have our first introduction of some of the best characters in this game, who are 100% not the Ninja Turtles. Definitely not the Ninja Turtles. These have nothing to do with them, and are definitely not anything like them. If you believe that, let me know. I've got a bridge to sell. So, I do love their designs though, and their theme is great. Definitely does evoke that 90s Ninja Turtles theme, even if they are totally not them. So, we're gonna let this cutscene play out. We're almost to it. Again, getting some gameplay. But, fun little fact here. There are a couple YouTube channels that show some stuff like gameplay glitches and things like that. There's actually nothing going on over there. It's just a nice little effect and a sound effect. So, sorry if I'm ruining the magic. But it is really cool though, because I always wondered as a child, like, what was going on? Like, did they actually show off one of their attacks from later? What happened? Nothing happened. But it's still really cool, and it does leave a little bit to your imagination. Especially as a kid, I was always really curious. So we're going to find out that since they are in charge of guarding the Star Spirit, nobody's guarding the Star Spirit. So they need to get down there and get back to their job and stop impersonating a certain set of Ninja Turtles. And I don't know. I just always thought that cutscene was funny. It's a good one. And we are almost to Toad Town. You saw Toad Town earlier in the opening cutscene. Didn't really get to see much of it because we weren't in control of the movement. But we're going to see our first instance of that in this game. This is going to be kind of our hub world. I mentioned earlier, kind of in passing, making a crack about Goomba Village and its like home base for the time. This is going to be most of the hub world. We aren't really going to see Goomba Village much anymore from here on out. But we are going to see Toad Town a lot, so definitely get used to this and enjoy this theme because you're going to be hearing it several times later. So, we get to see our first walkthrough of this where we're actually in control. We get to meet a bunch of new characters, which we're not going to do today. We're going to save some time, go ahead and just head straight to Shooting Star Summit. You do have a really cool little news story there. Every time you do something, here, let's actually show you that. Every time you do something, there's a Toad Town news flash, usually at the end of a chapter or things like that. Though I think occasionally, again, I can talk, I promise. Occasionally you will see that this is updated. I think in the middle, there are a couple times in the middle of the chapter that you see a new update, but it's pretty rare. So that's just really cool. Again, it's the little things that make this game really fun and magical, for lack of a better word. So you also see me kind of force of habit, even when I'm not really paying attention. You'll see me doing this little movement thing right here, and that is just a way to speed up movement. As I mentioned a couple times, and for anybody who might have just been joining us, I do a lot of speedruns and enjoy speedruns, even if I'm not necessarily playing a game myself. So what you'll see is that I'll often do time-saving strategies just because it's kind of force of habit. But you might see me do that every now and then, and that's all I'm doing. It doesn't do anything. It's just a different form of movement. So if you see me do that, that's all that's going on. So we get to actually meet the 7 Star Spirits when Mario's conscious this time and get to hear their message about what we need to do to help save Peach and save the world. So we're going to listen carefully, so I'm going to be quiet for a moment so we don't detract from what's going on in the story here. Also, I'm mostly being quiet because this music is great. I've always loved it. Back in the day, before video game soundtracks were really a thing, like you could just listen to Spotify and listen to video game soundtracks. Maybe I'm a nerd for doing that anyway, but I've always loved this. I always wish that I could have this on a CD. This entire soundtrack was really good, and they did make one. I know that it's really rare. I've never seen one in person, but they did make a soundtrack CD of this game. So anybody who's interested in that, they exist. Don't know where to get one. Please don't quote me on where you can find it, but I do know that they do exist. So if you're in that mood, you can definitely have one. So, at this point, basically, to summarize, we just need to save all 7 Star Spirits so they can give us the power to counteract the Star Rod. So, like I said earlier, a little bit of foreshadowing that everybody knew what was coming. Definitely, Bowser's not going to be invincible forever. We just need a little bit of help overcoming that invincibility. So, we just need to go save the Star Spirits and make sure that we have that taken care of, that we can fight Bowser as a team, and unfortunately that is the last that we will hear from them for this point in time. But we're definitely gonna find them soon. We're gonna definitely not leave this hanging. So I apologize. Earlier I said something along the lines of that was our first Peach cutscene, or Peach intermission, I should say. That was a lie. I didn't mean to lie to you. This is the first Peach cutscene. Uh, so we didn't see Peach last time, we just got to see Bowser. But now we get to see what's happening with Peach and her side of the story. There aren't going to be any battles in these, so definitely if you are here for the strategy, these aren't going to be anything major to watch, but definitely are fun to see, and fun to see the characterization that goes on and the various shenanigans that Bowser gets up to. So, at this point, we're just getting a reiteration, just in case you can catch the first time, that Bowser is currently invincible, Mario can't ever hope to stand against him, and Peach is worried because Bowser has taken over the kingdom in a way, and is causing havoc that she has no control over because she's trapped. So, always liked that Bowser theme too. Like, you're gonna hear me probably say many times that the music in this game is great. And that's because it is. Like, I think objectively, it is good video game music. So definitely recommend, if you haven't ever heard it and are wanting to hear it without me talking over it, definitely check it out sometime. It is a really good soundtrack. But here we're introduced to our other new character for this game that we haven't seen in any past games. His name is Twink. And he's going to be helping Peach out a little bit from Star Haven, because his job is to grant wishes. Now, he's just a little star, so he's not going to be able to grant many big wishes, but at least he'll be able to help out Peach a little bit. And he'll be a good little companion character for our time here when we're in our Peach intermissions. But since he is just able to grant small wishes, he's not going to be able to rescue Peach himself or take down Bowser himself, but at least he's trying. So this is a case of the little engine that could, I guess, although not really. Just because he thinks he can doesn't mean he can do anything, but he's still going to do his best, and I guess that is a really good start. Whoop. And you actually see, I accidentally hit the Z button. If you are ever playing this game and didn't realize you could do that, you can actually go back and see previous text boxes that way, just in case, because there isn't a chat log. So, right now, Peach is thinking of a way that she can help Mario, because that's at least one way to help out at this point. So this Lucky Star is an item that is going to be given to us that will allow us to use action commands. If you remember me mentioning those earlier, those are what let you actually have kind of more initiative in a fight. You would be able to actually like double your damage, block, things like that. So this is where the fights are actually going to start getting a little bit better. So we're almost there. We're almost to where you have access to the full range of abilities. And you're going to see those soon. Now, we are coming up on about an hour, and that tutorial does take a little bit of time. If we do come to a stopping point, I think it's going to ask me if I want to save and quit here. It doesn't. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go through this now and let you see it, and then we're going to call it quits for the day. So, right there, Twink overshot a little bit, hit us on the head, and luckily, though, he ran right into Mario, who he was supposed to be finding anyway. So, at this point, we are going to actually get to test those action commands. Now, I'm not going to go through the tutorial. I don't want you all to have to sit through that. There's no point. You're going to see me using it later on. But we're going to actually have our first battle where we get to see it soon as well. So I'm probably going to actually be really bad on these because, like I was talking earlier about frame perfect tricks and things like that, you're not going to see frame perfect tricks in this game or anything, but you are going to see that I am going to be using action commands and getting the timing down. And my timing is probably going to be really terrible right now. So please don't laugh at me if I make a couple mistakes, because it has been a while since I played the N64 version. And the reason I brought up frame perfect tricks and stuff is because you only have a small window of time to use the action command. And in this game, because it runs at 30 frames per second, and because I think the way they designed the timing of them, you don't really have, well, you have more time than you do in later Paper Mario games to pull off those action commands, but you still don't have a ton of time, and it's at a weird time. So if I miss it, it's just because my time is off. So I apologize. But hopefully we won't see that happen too much. So we have a person instead of Magic Koopa. They're actually pretty dangerous later on in the game. Right now we're going to be able to handle just one on his own, but they do hit pretty hard, and as you can see, I do miss action commands sometimes. So hopefully it won't be too bad, but as long as I hit this action command, we're fine. No trouble, no danger at all, it's all good. So with that, we are at 4 o'clock, so we're going to be calling this here soon once I get to a save point and to a good stopping point. But for anybody who's been on the stream so far, definitely thank you for hanging out with me. Glad you were able to enjoy, as I said, lazy Sunday afternoon, just to get to enjoy that. But we're going to be doing this again soon. At this point, I'm still nailing down a streaming schedule, so at least expect to see this again next Sunday, but maybe even during the middle of the week, or you can always catch replays on YouTube later on. I'm going to eventually link to my YouTube channel in my Twitch channel, so you'll be able to find me there. But right now, I just don't have that set up, so be on the lookout for that soon. At this point, though, we're almost done for the day. We're just getting through these last cutscenes. And at this point, the game really opens up. That was really the last tutorial that we go through in the last cutscene. Not the last cutscene, but the last like tutorial type cutscene that's just introducing us to the world and to the game. So at this point, the world's pretty open. We can now do what we want, and we're going to get started with that next time. So I'm gonna find a save point here soon, and there is one nearby, I do remember. But first, before we get started next time, we're going to be talking to Merlon to keep going. But we're not going to do that today. We are going to do that next time. With that, though, there is a save point over here that we're going to hit and call it done for today. So for everybody that was here today, thank you very much for watching. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you very much for sticking with me for this last hour. Definitely look forward to seeing you all again soon, and hope that you all can join me next time. And with that, you all have a wonderful rest of your afternoon, or a wonderful rest of your day if you're watching the replay. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you soon.